Hi, I'm Simon, and in this video, I'm going to take you through everything that you need to know to buy one of these, an Acorn Electron. I'll take you through where to buy, how much to pay, what to look for, what are the issues with the Acorn Electron that you need to be careful about, how to load software, how to connect it to a modern display, and I'll take you through some current listings for sale and I'll give you my comments on them, good and bad. And I'll also tell you about the one that I bought. I'll tell you about where I got it from, how much I paid for it, and the issues that I had with it when I got it. Now later on in the video, I will show you loading software onto the Electron using this Maxduino, which I built myself. If you'll ever go building one of these yourself, I will put a link in the projects page to PCBWay's projects. Well, likewise, there might be other stuff that you're interested in tinkering with, like building yourself a ZX Spectrum, or a BeebSid, perhaps, or a Roland MT32 emulator, or a NES emulator based on a Raspberry Pi Pico. If none of that tickles your fancy, perhaps you'd be interested in some high quality CNC machining or 3D printing. Thank you to PCBWay for sponsoring this video. Please do check them out. They make videos like this possible. Now, the most obvious and popular choice is probably going to be eBay, and it's certainly where I've been buying most of my computers from. Quick search, and we've got quite a lot of Electrons listed, and I dare say a number of those do offer international shipping, obviously at a premium for any of those of you not in the UK. Obviously, the Electron was only really sold in the UK and bits of Europe and possibly Australia and Canada, if Wikipedia is correct. But by the vast majority of sellers are going to be UK based. And we'll have a look at a few of these listings in a little while, and I'll tell you what I think is good and bad about them and whether they offer value for money and whatnot. But putting eBay aside for a moment, let's have a look at other options that you might want to consider. Now, here's a quick search on Facebook Marketplace for Acorn Electron and related stuff. And there's a few listings there. I'm not sure what that's about. But nevertheless, there's a surprising number listed. But as per Facebook Marketplace, it's typically you are expected to go and pick up the item. And obviously, there's no comeback like what you would have potentially with eBay. And obviously, if you live outside the UK, then it's going to be incredibly rare for an Electron to pop up on Facebook Marketplace. So this one really is more if you're a UK buyer and you can drop lucky and not have to travel 100 miles or so to pick one up. Now, sticking with Facebook, you might want to consider having a look at some of the specialist groups on there. This is the Acorn and BBC Enthusiast Wanted and for Sale, which, for obvious reason, relates to Acorn stuff. Now, I've had a quick scroll through there. I can't see anything Acorn Electron related, but you can always potentially put a post on there asking if anyone's got one for sale and do it like that. Put a wanted notice out there, as it were. Now, I've not bought off any of these groups before, but what I have done is I have sold computers on here before. The last one being an Atari STE, which from me posting it, had somebody arrive at my door 2 hours later with cash in the hand, ready to buy. So as a seller, it worked very well for me. As a buyer, I can't comment, but it's certainly something to consider as an option. So another thing that's probably well worth considering having a look at is stardot.org. It's an Acorn enthusiast forum. I've used it many times for diagnosing issues with some of my Acorn hardware. But beyond that, as well as having really knowledgeable people there, they do have a for sale section where I dare say Acorn Electrons do pop up from time to time. But likewise, it might be well worth just posting a wanted bit saying that you're looking for one, and who knows, you might have some luck there. Now, when it comes to second-hand stuff, the prices sellers ask for their goods can vary wildly, and the Electron is no different in that respect. But in this bit, I'll talk you through what I think affects its value and what I think is a fair price to pay. So the first thing is its physical appearance. Hopefully, there's no gouges, scratches, the sticker's intact, there's no corners smashed off like it's been thrown down the stairs or something. This is a nice, clean example. It came to me and it was quite filthy, but it just needed a clean. As if you've seen my previous video, you'll see me doing bits of that. And another nice to have is we've got the plastic edge connector protector there, which is not essential, but it's a nice to have. Gives an indication that the machine's been well looked after. The next and probably the most important thing is, does it work? And hopefully the seller has put in a description in relation to that, because when you power on the Electron, you should get that single beep, the caps lock light should illuminate, and you'll get the Acorn display on the screen. And if the seller's really doing a good job, they'll also have demonstrated that all the keys are working. And if they really want to maximise their asking price, they're also going to show you pictures of software working on the machine as well. Another thing that can really bump up the price being asked by sellers is what's included with it. Now for me, all I got was the polystyrene packaging, the Electron itself obviously, the tape lead and the original power brick. But you see the Electrons being sold with various different expansions, the original outer packaging, the manual, all those nice to have bits, but none of that was of interest to me. And if I am interested in it, it's things that I'll pick up at a later date. It's worth pointing out as well that missing AV cables aren't a deal breaker, as modern equivalents are very easy to come by on eBay. Even the power brick itself, faulty power brick or a missing power brick, you can pick those up quite cheaply, not expensive at all. So how much do I think is worth paying for an Acorn Electron? And how much should I pay for mine? Well, before I look at mine, let's just consider an average condition Electron, the computer itself, and just the power brick. I think a fair price for an untested machine would be £40–50, something in that, but I wouldn't be wanting to pay any more, not if it's not tested. If it's tested and working, then a little bit more, obviously. Maybe £70–80 would be roundabout what I would consider a fair price. If it's in exceptional condition, then maybe the prices would go up just that bit much more to reflect that. If it was pristine and tested and working, I'd maybe pay £100, maybe a slight fraction more if it really was worth it. And then obviously throwing in any extras and all that sort of stuff, or any rare examples of the motherboard, then the prices can obviously go up considerably more from that. Likewise, if you're wanting that original packaging. So how much did I pay for mine? Well, I paid £50, and I think that was reasonable value. Obviously, I got the computer, I got the polystyrene packaging, I got the power brick and a couple of the leads. Now, the seller had described it as sort of like partially tested, partially working, possibly. He confirmed that connecting it up to power, it did beep and the caps lock light came on, but didn't have the facilities to connect it up to a modern display. But when I did get it, everything did work apart from one of the keys on it. And all I had to do there was pull the keycap off and give it a really good blast with some contact cleaner. And lo and behold, it was all up and working. No issues. Let me know in the comments if you thought that was good value or not, whether it was worth the risk. I think it was. Connecting the Electron to a modern display is actually pretty straightforward. The Electron comes with three video outs. We've got the RGB there, we've got the monochrome composite, and we've got the UHF on the end there. We're going to go for best picture quality, so we're only going to consider the RGB. Now for me, I just use a 6-pin DIN to RGB SCART, and it's really important that the cable does support RGB, otherwise this will not work. And then I plug the SCART cable into a HDMI upscaler, so SCART to HDMI upscaler, and then plug HDMI lead into the upscaler, and job done. It really is as simple as that. You can also buy off-the-shelf solutions which takes the 6-pin DIN and converts it directly to HDMI, but I've just gone for the low cost and simple option, which works really well. Now, when it comes to loading software on the Electron, it's not short of options. If you're willing to spend the money, you can get yourself the +1, which offers ROM cartridge support, although original software was limited and, in my personal opinion, not particularly interesting. And also the original ROM cartridges do go for quite a lot of money. And there was also the +3 interface, which is very hard to come by, and if you do, they go for a lot of money. But that added a disk interface. Now, a more modern solution would perhaps be an SD card solution. Now, this is for the ZX Spectrum, because I don't have one for the Electron, but the same principles apply. Just plug straight into the back of the machine, your software loaded onto the SD card, and you're up and running with as much software as you could possibly ever need. But if you're wanting that original software loading experience, then it really does have to be tape. And so you're going to have to get yourself something like one of these, which is the Acorn data recorder. Now, this is one that I got for the BBC, but it works just as fine with the Acorn Electron. It's got exactly the same connections on the side of it. And hopefully, as you can see there, we've just got the earphone socket and the standard 7-pin DIN that the BBC uses as well. So to connect this up to the Electron, you just need 7-pin DIN to 7-pin DIN, and you're up and running. Now, if you can't get your hands on an Acorn cassette player like this, or you don't want to pay the premium to get one, you can use any cassette recorder, really. This is a really good alternative that I picked up a while back, and I'll just show you the connections on the side of it, if that's coming up there. Now, it does have a DIN connector, but this is a 5-pin DIN. Don't confuse that with the same as on the Electron. It won't fit. It has all the audio connections, but it doesn't have the motor control. But what this one does have is this one here in the middle. It's got the remote. Now, if I show you the audio cable for the Electron, now we've got ear, mic, and then the smaller one, the remote, obviously goes in there. But what the remote does, and it's a really nice feature to have, and you'll kick yourself if you get a tape player that doesn't have it, is it allows the Electron to stop and start the cassette player itself. Might not sound like a big deal, but lots of Acorn software loads a bit, stops, loads a bit more, stops. Trust me, it's a feature you want. You can do it without, but you've just got to watch it loading, and then when the Electron pauses to do something, you've got to stop the tape. Having the mic feature is a really good thing to have. Either that or have a 7-pin DIN connector on the tape player. So I've saved this for last. This is my favourite way of loading software. Works with Electron, works with the Spectrum, works with the BBC, works with several other old computers that use the tape format. This is a tape emulator, and it goes by the name of MaxDuino, TZXDuino, probably some other names as well that I'm not aware of, but seems to revolve around the name of the firmware that's on the device itself. You don't have to build these yourself. You can get them pre-made off eBay, but it's a fun little project. But that's enough waffle. It's pretty straightforward. You've got a memory card stuck in the back with all the software that you've downloaded and stuck on there, obviously that you legally own. And then just scroll through the buttons. You can organize it into folders and whatnot. So we just have a quick scroll through there, and you see I've stuck a few bits of software on there for the Electron. When you're good to go, just press play, and it says paused, ready to go. If I press play again, it'll do it manually. But if I'm using the lead, then we've got the ear socket there. There's no mic because you can't record back to this device on the Electron. So we've got the ear socket there, and then we've got the motor controller 2.5mm jack. I think it's 2.5mm, pretty sure it is. So with that connected, as soon as you go on the Electron, type in chain and 2 pairs of double quotes and hit return. That trips a relay on the Electron, and lo and behold, sends a signal through and tells it to start playing. Likewise, obviously, when the Electron wants it to pause, it pauses. Great little device and well worth getting your hands on one. Now, like other computers of this era, the Electron is not without its age-related issues, whether it's faulty power supplies, dodgy keyboards, or blown electrolytic capacitors. All relatively easy to fix though. But there's one issue with the Electron, although less common than the others. If this happens to your Electron, it's arguably game over for it, or at very least a non-economical repair. And for that, we need to have a look inside. I've already bobbed the screws out, and when you do this yourself, just be careful. I've already disconnected the ribbon cable for the keyboard, but just be mindful when you lift the lid off. Don't just rip it off, otherwise you'll have a bad day. Speaking of having a bad day, this chip here is the ULA. It stands for the Uncommitted Logic Array, and it's a chip that controls video, sound, memory, and probably a plethora of other things as well. And if that's died, you've got a big problem, basically. Up until recently, the only way you could resolve that is cannibalizing another Electron and getting a working one out of that and sticking in here. Now, there is, if you search online for Mogwai and Jamsoft, there is a modern equivalent that's been put together. However, it's not commercially available, so you'd have to download the files and get it all made up and assembled, and the FGPA chip program. Not a simple task. Now, I had a quick search online and couldn't find any to buy. And prices for the cannibalized ones out of another Electron, if you can find any for sale, are just ridiculous. It's not an economical repair. It's unlikely that the chip will fail, but if it does, in my mind, in my opinion, and feel free to disagree with me, it's a write-off. Your machine becomes a donor machine. It's as simple as that. Now, just in relation to the ULA, they came in a couple of versions. This is one of the early versions where the ULAs sat in a socket, and in later revision versions, it was soldered to the board. So if you've got one of the later versions and you are going down that route of replacing, then there's going to be more work involved, desoldering the old chip and so on and so forth. I'm not trying to discourage you from having a go if you've got a dead Electron, but I think for most people, the dead ULA is just the end of the road, I'm afraid. So let's now have a look at a few Acorn Electrons currently listed for sale. I've picked out a few that I like and don't like. Remember, it's just my personal opinion, of course, and I'm not linked with the sellers in any way whatsoever. And if you've got this far, please do consider giving me a thumbs up and perhaps a subscribe if you'd like to see more content. Helps my videos get out to a wider audience. And as always, a special thank you to my loyal YouTube channel members who financially support my channel. So here's one that I do like the look of. Plenty of pictures. Looks nice and clean. He's even included a video of it working, which is an excellent thing to have. What else have we got? Good, nice, clean looking Electron there. Lots of views of it all around, and we even got a view of the motherboard, issue 4, and the power supply as well. Let's just close that down. Tested and working, very condition with original PSU, and bidding from £57 and pence to buy it now for £89 and 10 pence. I don't think that's bad. If you are looking for a nice clean Electron that's guaranteed working, I don't think that's bad at all. And there we go in the description. So you don't get any of the other cables, you just get the power supply and the Electron itself. But I quite like that, and I like the way that the sellers put together lots of pictures so you can see really what you're getting. Okay, so here's one that I'm less so keen on, and this is buy it now for £80.39, a working Acorn Electron. And if we have a look through the pictures, it's clearly very filthy, and it looks like there's quite a lot of yellowing to it, certainly on the keys. That's just not dirt. Let's have a look at some of the pictures, and we've got a big crack on the corner, which obviously the seller's highlighting, not trying to hide that in any way. But that's going to need a new case, really, or some clever repair on that. Yeah, just generally, not in great condition, I don't think. What else have we got? Yeah, I'm just not a fan. If we go down, just have a quick read of the description. Yeah, console only, it's working, but it doesn't have any leads, doesn't have a power supply, and it just looks a mess. And we don't know how it's working. Does it just power on, or does it load software? Not impressed, and personally, I don't think it's worth the money. So there's another one that I'm not particularly impressed with. £90 on a buy it now. We've got the Electron, we've got what looks to be a dust cover, the manual, and a selection of Electron user magazines. Just have a quick look through the pictures. Let's have a bit of a zoom in. It's yeah, it doesn't seem as bad as the previous one. Certainly wants a really good clean, but there's no mention of any damage to the case that I can see. Let's have a look at the back. We've got the edge connector protector there, which is something, and we can see at least 2 of the screws present, which is good. Yeah, the magazines, nice to have, but they don't really add a great deal of value to the listing, and there seems to be, as far as I can tell, a complete absence of cables and power supply. So it's not a bad looking Electron, and the magazines are okay, I guess, for a bit of nostalgia, but I don't think it represents great value, to be honest. I think you can get better out there for that. Yeah, items comes from clearance, not tested, comes as picture. So you don't know whether it's going to work, and it doesn't come with anything. So better condition than the previous one, but this one's untested. Yeah, it wouldn't be one thing. It wouldn't be one that jumped out to me to buy. Right, another Electron. This time we've got a couple of tape players and a few books by the looks of it, and a ton of, well, not a ton, but quite an amount of software there by the looks of it, presumably all for the Electron. And just see hiding at the top there a big nest of wires and what looks to be a couple of Acorn Electron power supplies. Let's have a look through. Yeah, we've got a generic cassette player there, Sanyo. Looks filthy. The original Acorn data cassette recorder. That also looks quite filthy. The Electron itself, let's have a look. Yeah, hard to tell too much from that, other than it needs a jolly good bath. Software, it's all, well, I'm not seeing anything particularly interesting there, other than we've got a copy of Elite there, which looks like it's seen better days. Everything else looks very very generic, very easy to get hold of software. What else have we got? Anything interesting? No, doesn't look to be. Yeah, there we've got a couple of power supplies and a nest of wires. God knows what's in there. So first thoughts are there's very little in terms of pictures on the Electron. Let's see if there's any description as to whether it's working or not. Rare Electron +1. Well, it's not a +1. This is the Electron. The +1 was the expansion, which added ROM cartridge support and a joystick port. That is not there. So that's wrong. This model comes with collection of tapes, books, and other accessories, making it sought after. Yeah. So it's just not a +1. It's just an Electron with a collection of software, and we don't know whether it's working or not, and we don't know whether the tape players work or not. The only bit of interesting software is Elite, which it's hard to tell the condition. Might be average, but seller's asking £260.70 or best offer. My personal opinion is it's untested. We don't know whether it works or not. We can't really see the condition of it other than it wants a good clean. We don't know whether the tape players work or not. Nice to have the Acorn one, but you can pick these up for not a great deal of money in a working condition, maybe £50-60, something like that. Copy of Elite, that'd be nice to have, but it doesn't reflect the price being asked. It's, in my opinion, it is just way overpriced and a complete gamble and worth nothing like what the seller's asking. But that's just my opinion, of course. So this is the last one that I'm going to show you. This is absolute top whack money, but I'll show you why I've picked it out as a possible recommendation. Now, this is a business seller. They do have a website. They do deal in all old computers, bits and pieces. And I have bought stuff from them in the past without issue. It's always been exactly as described. All we're getting here is the Electron itself. If I can just zoom in, it looks to be in nice condition. Just scroll through some of the other pictures as well. Plenty of pictures, really. All looking quite nice. We'll get any more pictures. Yes. And we've got the security marking from whoever used to own the computer originally, which is quite common, the serial number. Yeah, it's £115, absolute top money, but it does say that it's tested and working with warranty. I don't know quite what warranty they offer, but if you're in the market for buying one and you really want a guarantee that what you're getting is going to work, and you want some after-sales support and that form of peace of mind with a warranty, whatever form that may take, then it may be worth for you just paying that bit of extra money. Obviously, this doesn't include anything else. This is just the computer itself, tested and working, but you're going to have to buy a power supply and the AV leads as well to go with that. But like I say, it's if you want that peace of mind, it's probably worth paying that additional premium. So I hope you enjoyed my look at the Acorn Electron, and hope I'll see you in another video soon, and I'll play you out with some games running on the Electron. Bye for now.